Om Swastiastu. Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today in this video I will do explanation or a presentation about cultural characteristic in Yogyakarta and China. So let's start the presentation. And before I start the presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Gusti Santika Dewi. Now let's move to the presentation. The first, let's talk about Yogyakarta itself first. So Yogyakarta is one of many regions in Indonesia. Yogyakarta is the heart of culture, art, and tradition in Indonesia. Its status as a special region lies in the southern part of Central Java. In the heartland of Javanese culture, as the former capital and the center of several kingdoms in the past. This region and its people are very rich in a variety of cultures. Cultural heritage in Yogyakarta includes the magnificent temples, the ruins of palaces and monasteries, the various kinds of traditions and cultural events, traditional folk performing art, traditional ritual ceremonies, customs, traditional handcraft, traditional architecture, and many more other traditional activities. So, after we know about Yogyakarta, now let's explore the culture in the Yogyakarta. So first is the culture center in Yogyakarta. So the center of Yogyakarta is Keraton or Kraton, usually named Yogyakarta Hadiningrat Palace. The royal palace of Yogyakarta remains at the core of traditional life. The location marks the focal point of the Sultan's entire territory, as it creates an imaginary line with Mount Merapi at its north, the Yogyakarta Monument, and the mystical South Sea. Next, the second one is about the traditional clothing. So in Yogyakarta, the traditional clothing called kebaya and surjan. Kebaya is for women and surjan is for men. The Javanese traditional dress is worn on special occasions such as wedding ceremonies and cultural events. So let's talk about the kebaya. The kebaya is a blouse-like garment worn with a sarong. Its characteristic is the velvet fabric that tends to be black. The shape fit the body with jarik bottoms, usually with a bun, a jewelry, and footwear in the form of slippers. Now let's talk about surjan. So the surjan is a formal jacket worn with trousers. Surjan is a lurik or long sleeve shirt model. The fabric has a thick texture with vertical motif. It's dark in color and is equipped with buttons. When wearing traditional clothes for formal events, Javanese men often wear a head covering, which are called blankon. The next is about the ceremony. So I just choose two ceremony of many ceremonies in Yogyakarta. I just choose two for example. The first one is Cupu Panjalu ceremony. Cupu Panjalu has three items found in the sea by Kiai Panjulu, who was fishing in the sea. They are believed to be able to give symbols and predictions about the future of the village. The second one is Sekaten ceremony. Javanese tradition event commemorating the birthday of Prophet Muhammad SAW, or the Muslim prophet. The people must chew betel leaves in the yard of the great mosque from the beginning of the event started till finish. Next is about the food. So for the food, I'll choose gudeg as example. So the food that is the main icon of the special region of Yogyakarta is gudeg. The name gudeg is derived from the Javanese term hangudeg. The term hangudeg meaning stirring process. Young jackfruit is cooked for a long time until it's become dark brown. There are choices of wet gudeg and dry gudeg. Usually gudeg is served with rice, krecek sambal goreng, thick areh sauce, free range chicken, eggs, tofu, and braised tempeh, or we call it tempe bacem. Alright, now let's move to the country around the world, which is China. Let's talk about China itself first. China is the most populous country in the world and has the second largest land area. Its cultural influence is felt throughout the Asia region and has impacted the world on a large scale through the arts, science, cuisines, production, and trade. China's culture has undergone a rapid and intense transformations over the past 50 years and continues to adapt to the modern world. China has 400 species of bamboo and is the world's largest bamboo producer. For this reason, Western countries call China the bamboo curtain country. So after we know about the China itself, now let's explore the culture in China. The first is cultural center in China. The Great Wall of China is a series of giant walls that extend following the shape of the North Chinese mountains, stretching from east to west. In Mandarin, the Great Wall of China is commonly referred to as Wanli Changcheng, which means a wall with a length of 10,000 li. The constructions of the Great Wall of China dates back to 656 BC. During that period of ancient China, the Great Wall began to be built for defensive purpose to stem the invasion of nomadic tribes from northern China. And another cultural center in China is the Guangzhou Cultural Center, a vital social infrastructure with rich lignin, ecological characteristics, and cultural heritage. Situated at the southern end of the central axis of Guangzhou City and on the shore of Haizu Lake. This antique architecture is the largest of its kind in China, including garden landscape. So next is about the traditional clothing. So there are three types of traditional clothing in China. The first one is Hanfu. Hanfu is the traditional Chinese clothing with the longest history, which is more than 3,000 years. This clothing consists of various parts such as yi or open cross-collar clothing, pao or full body clothing for men, and there are also another so on, worn by both men and women for celebration formal occasion, Hanfu depicts the simplicity and beauty of ancient China. The second is Xipao. Xipao is one of the most famous traditional Chinese dress, also known as Cheongsam. This traditional Chinese dress has a high fit cut. It is usually worn for formal occasion such as wedding or banquet because it exudes femininity and elegance. The third one is Tangsuit or Tangzhuang. Tangsuit or Tangzhuang is a traditional Chinese dress worn by men, often paired with xiao worn by women. The suit consists of a long jacket with front buttons and trousers. This suit is often worn for special occasions such as wedding ceremonies or Chinese New Year's. Next is about this ceremony. So I just take two ceremony, for example, two ceremony of many ceremony in China. In China, I just take two. The first one is Yusheng. Yusheng is a tradition that is done to welcome the Chinese New Year. It is related to special dishes at the turn of New Year. The tradition of eating cold food such as salmon and carrots, served with sesame sauce and plums. Family members will stir the food together and lift it with chopstick as high as possible. And the second one is a Chinese New Year festival. Chinese New Year festival celebrating the arrival of the new year based on the lunar calendar. The tradition includes cleaning the house to welcome the New Year's, a large family gatherings, giving red envelopes containing money, or we also call it ang pao, and lion and dragon dance performance, or we can say it barongsai, and enjoying traditional dishes such as kue keranjang and ketupat. Next is about the food. So I just choose one for example. It's called Peking duck. Peking roast duck or Peking duck is an imperial dish from Beijing, the capital city of China. Its history dates back to the imperial era and is also the national dish of China. The duck is marinated and roasted in a closed oven or hanging oven, resulting in crispy skin and tender, juicy meat inside. It can serve with sweet bean sauce, green onions, cucumbers, and pancakes. Next is about it's the conclusion. So I can conclude that its region, area, place, country has its own characteristic. Having many differences in cultural characteristics, such from cultural centers, ceremonies, traditional clothes, food, and many more. However, these differences do not will not divide them, but it rather make them respect to each other. So I think that's all my explanation or my presentation about cultural characteristics. I'm sorry if there are any mistaken words. So I'll close this with Pramasanti. Om Santi Santi Om. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.